In a town tucked away between rolling hills and a sleepy river, lived a girl named Elara. Her home, nestled on Elm Street, was old but cozy, filled with the scent of lavender and forgotten stories. Elara wasn't like the other kids who spent their days kicking cans down dusty roads or climbing the big oak tree in the town square. She was a quiet observer, her bright eyes always searching, always wondering. She loved exploring the nooks and crannies of her town, especially the forgotten places. The old library, with its tall, dusty shelves, was her favorite haunt. She'd often sit by the window, a book open on her lap, but her gaze would drift outside, watching the world go by, imagining the lives of the people who walked past. Elara's curiosity wasn't loud. It was a gentle hum inside her, always nudging her to look a little closer, to ask a little more. She loved history, not just the big events, but the small, everyday details of how people lived long ago. She often wondered what secrets the old buildings held, what whispers the wind carried from the past. This quiet curiosity made her special, setting her apart in a town that mostly looked forward, not back. It was this same gentle curiosity that would soon lead her to a discovery that would change not just her own view of the world, but the entire town's. One sunny afternoon, Elara's grandmother asked for help clearing out her attic. It was a place Elara had always wanted to explore, a treasure chest of forgotten things. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight that peeked through a small window. Old trunks, forgotten furniture, and stacks of yellowed newspapers filled the space. Elara carefully moved through the clutter, her eyes wide with excitement. She loved the smell of old wood and forgotten memories. Deep in a shadowy corner, beneath a moth-eaten quilt and a pile of brittle lace, her fingers brushed against something hard and square. She tugged it out, a cloud of dust puffing into the air. It was a book, thick and bound in dark, worn leather. The cover felt rough beneath her fingertips, and its edges were frayed. Brushing away the last of the dust, Elara could just make out some faded gold lettering. It read, "The Farmer's and Mariner's Almanac, 1872. An almanac, and from so long ago. Her heart thumped a little faster. This wasn't just any old book. It was a window to a time her town had almost forgotten. She carefully opened its pages, eager to see what secrets it held. The paper was thin and crackly, and the print was tiny, but Elara knew right away this was no ordinary find. Back in her room, Elara carefully opened the old almanac. She expected to find facts about the weather, planting times, or perhaps moon phases, the usual stuff in such books. But as she turned the brittle pages, something truly unexpected appeared. Nestled among the typical farming advice and tide charts were short, poetic sentences. They weren't like horoscopes, which just told you what might happen. These were different. Each day had a small, italicized verse beneath the date. Elara leaned closer, her brow furrowed in wonder. For January 1st, it read, Asterisk. The first dawn brings a spirit bright, with laughter in the morning light. Asterisk for January 2nd. Asterisk. A quiet heart, a thoughtful mind, the truest treasures you will find. Asterisk. These weren't predictions, they were descriptions, like tiny portraits painted with words. Elara realized these were the star whispers the old folk in town sometimes talked about, but she'd always thought they were just stories. Each whisper seemed to capture a feeling, a trait, a deep truth about a person. They spoke of kindness, courage, dreams, and hidden strengths. This almanac was more than just a calendar of days. It was a book of souls, touched by the ancient sky. A shiver of excitement ran down her spine. How could a book from so long ago hold such personal insights? The tiny, poetic lines in the almanac captivated Elara. She spent a long time simply flipping through the pages, reading random whispers. Each one felt like a small riddle, a secret message from the past. Then a thought sparked in her mind, bright and clear. What about her own birthday? Could the star whispers know something about her? With a flutter of anticipation, she carefully turned the brittle pages to the month of her birth, then slowly counted the days until she found her special date. Her finger traced the small, italicized words beneath the date. She read it once, then again, her eyes wide with disbelief and a growing sense of wonder. The star whisper for her birthday read, asterisk, a soul that seeks the hidden truth, with eyes that sparkle, bright with youth. A gentle heart, a curious mind, the world's deep secrets you shall find. Elara gasped softly. It was as if the old book had looked right into her heart and known her completely. A soul that seeks the hidden truth. That was exactly her, always digging for answers. Eyes that sparkle, bright with youth. Well, her grandmother always said her eyes shone when she was thinking hard. And a curious mind, that was the very thing that had led her to this attic, to this book. It described her perfectly, down to the last word. A warm, tingling feeling spread through her, a mix of awe and pure joy. How could this be? A book from 1872, knowing exactly who Elara, a girl in a quiet town many years later, was? It was truly amazing. After her own star whisper proved so uncannily accurate, Elara couldn't resist. She had to try it on others. Who else did the old almanac know so well? She started with her grandmother, whose birthday was just a few weeks away. Elara found the date and read the whisper aloud. A guiding light, a comforting hand, the wisest heart in all the land. Her grandmother, sitting nearby, paused her knitting, a soft smile spreading across her face. "Well, isn't that lovely?" she murmured, and Elara knew it fit perfectly. Her grandmother was indeed the family's gentle, wise leader. Next, Elara thought of her best friend, Leo, who was always full of energy and new ideas. She flipped to his birthday. With boundless joy and spirit free, a friend to all, for all to see. Elara giggled. That was Leo through and through. He was always the first to suggest a new game or adventure, and everyone loved being around him. She tried her quiet, book-loving teacher, Mrs. Gable. In silent thought, great knowledge grows, a gentle spirit everyone knows. It was amazing. The descriptions weren't just close. They were spot on, capturing the very essence of each person. A thrill ran through Elara. This wasn't just a coincidence. The almanac truly seemed to understand people. The more star whispers Elara read, the more she was filled with a deep sense of wonder, but also a growing question. How? How could a book printed in 1872, long before her grandmother was even born, know so much about people living today? It wasn't just knowing about her. It knew about Leo, about Mrs. Gable, about all the different people she had tried. It was as if the book had a magical eye that could see into hearts, not just of people from its own time, but from the future too. She spent hours poring over the almanac, tracing the dates, rereading the whispers, and trying to find a clue. Was there a secret code? Was it just a very clever trick? But the words were too gentle, too personal to be a trick. They spoke of inner qualities, not outer appearances. It wasn't like a fortune teller guessing things. It was like a wise old friend who truly understood. Elara thought about the stars in the night sky, how they seemed so far away but also so constant, always there, watching. Did they really hold secrets about everyone? Could the people who wrote this almanac have somehow listened, to those ancient whispers from the heavens. The thought was both a little spooky and incredibly exciting, like finding a hidden map to a treasure she never knew existed. She felt a new kind of curiosity stirring inside her, even deeper than before. To try and understand the Almanac's magic, Elara went to the wisest person she knew, her grandmother. She showed her the book and explained the amazing star whispers. Grandmother Clara listened patiently, her eyes twinkling as Elara spoke of the book's incredible accuracy. When Elara finished, Grandmother Clara gently took the almanac and held it. "Ah, the star whispers," Grandmother Clara said softly. "People used to believe that the stars were not just lights in the sky, but wise old souls watching over us. They believed that when a baby was born, the stars that shone brightest that night whispered secrets about that child's spirit, their gifts, and the person they would become." Elara's eyes grew wide. "So the stars really do know?" "Not in the way a person knows facts," her grandmother explained, "but in a deeper sense. They believed the stars sang a song about your truest self, your inner light. The people who wrote almanacs like this one, they were often very old souls themselves, who spent their nights gazing at the heavens. They tried to listen to those star songs and write them down, hoping to help people understand themselves better. It was an ancient belief, a beautiful idea that felt just right to Elara. The sky wasn't just empty space, it was a grand, knowing presence. Understanding the old belief gave Elara a new appreciation for the almanac. It wasn't just a book of riddles. It was a book of gentle truths, a way to see the special light inside everyone. The next day at school, a new student named Finn joined their class. Finn was very quiet, keeping his eyes on his desk, not looking at anyone. He seemed shy and a little lost in the bustling classroom. Elara watched him, remembering how sometimes it felt lonely to be new. An idea sparked in Elara's mind. Could the almanac help Finn? Could a star whisper make him feel less alone, show him that even the sky knew he was special? She decided to try. After school, Elara hurried home, carefully retrieved the dusty almanac, and flipped to Finn's birthday. She knew his date from the class roster Mrs. Gable had shared. Her heart beat a little faster as she found the right page. She hoped the whisper would be kind and welcoming, just what Finn needed. This wasn't just about curiosity anymore. It was about helping someone, about sharing the gentle wisdom of the stars. She planned to tell him in a way that wouldn't make him feel strange, but rather understood. The next morning, Elara felt a little nervous, but also excited. She found Finn sitting alone during recess, drawing quietly in a small notebook. Approaching him gently, Elara smiled. "Hi, Finn," she said softly. "My name is Elara. I found something really interesting, and it made me think of you." Finn looked up, his eyes wide and a little wary, but he didn't run away. Elara carefully opened the almanac to his birthday page, pointing to the italicized words. "This is from a really old book," she explained, "and it has these special little messages for each day, like the stars are whispering about who you are." She read Finn's star whisper aloud. Asterisk, "A quiet soul with colors bright, who paints the world with inner light. Great wonders hide within your hand, a talent waiting to expand." As Elara finished, Finn's eyes, which had been downcast, slowly lifted. He looked at the words, then at Elara, a tiny spark of surprise in their depths. He didn't say anything, but he held out his notebook. Inside there were amazing drawings of fantastical creatures and vibrant landscapes, truly colors bright and great wonders. Elara's heart swelled. The Star Whisperer had seen his hidden talent, his quiet way of expressing himself. A small, shy smile touched Finn's lips. It knows," he whispered, a hint of wonder in his voice. In that moment, Elara knew the Almanac had worked its gentle magic, making Finn feel seen and understood. Finn's quiet smile and the unspoken understanding between them were just the beginning. Soon, Elara found herself sharing the Almanac's star whispers with more people. It started with Leo, who insisted she look up his little brother's birthday. Then, Mrs. Gable heard about it and asked for her own. Word slowly spread through the quiet town. People who had always been a little guarded, or who felt misunderstood, found themselves drawn to the idea that an old book held a special message just for them. The Almanac became a gentle bridge between people. Neighbors who rarely spoke would stop Elara to ask about their birth dates. Old Mr. Henderson, known for his grumpy ways, teared up when his whisper spoke of a loyal heart beneath a gruff exterior. Mrs. Peterson, who always seemed busy, chuckled when hers mentioned a spirit that thrives on cheerful tasks. It was a wonder to see. The little poetic lines didn't tell people what to do, but they affirmed who they were, often revealing a beautiful truth that someone might have forgotten about themselves, or that others had never seen. The dusty old book, once forgotten in an attic, was now a source of gentle magic, sparking conversations and smiles, and helping everyone feel a little more connected in their quiet town. As the Almanac brought so much joy and understanding to her town, Elara often sat by her window at night, looking up at the twinkling stars. She thought about what her grandmother had said, about the ancient belief in star songs. She still believed there was something very special about the Almanac, but her idea of magic began to change. It wasn't about spells or impossible tricks. It was something deeper, something more real. She realized that the star whispers, with their beautiful words, were like a special way of looking at people. They didn't tell you anything bad. They always highlighted the good, the kind, the brave, or the unique parts of a person. Old Mr. Henderson's gruffness wasn't mentioned, only his loyal heart. Mrs. Peterson's busy nature wasn't a fault, but a cheerful task. The Almanac helped people see their own hidden strengths and the good in others. It was as if the book reminded everyone that they were important and had wonderful qualities, even if they sometimes forgot. Elara understood then that the real magic of the Almanac wasn't in telling fortunes, but in helping people truly see the goodness and light in themselves and in everyone around them. It was a gentle magic, a magic of kindness and understanding. With her new understanding, the phrase, "the sky already knows who you are," took on a much deeper meaning for Elara. It wasn't about the stars having a secret file on each person. It was about something much more beautiful and simple. It meant that every single person, from the moment they were born, carried a unique spark, a special set of qualities that made them who they were. The sky, vast and ancient, was like a gentle reminder that everyone was made of stardust, full of potential and goodness. She saw it in Finn's quiet talent, in her grandmother's wisdom, in Leo's bright spirit. It wasn't that the Almanac told them who they were, but that it reminded them, and everyone else, to notice those special parts. It helped shy people see their courage, busy people see their caring hearts, and quiet people see their deep thoughts. It was a message that no one was ordinary, that everyone had something wonderful inside them, waiting to shine. This realization filled Elara with a warm, hopeful feeling. The old Almanac wasn't just a book. It was a mirror, reflecting the best parts of humanity, showing that everyone had a place and a purpose in the world. And that was a far more wonderful magic than any spell. Armed with this beautiful understanding, Elara didn't keep the Almanac a secret. Instead, she became its gentle messenger. She brought it to school, not to show off, but to share its wisdom. whenever someone seemed to need a little light. When a classmate felt sad about not being good at sports, Elara would discreetly find their birthday. Perhaps their whisper spoke of a patient spirit or a heart that finds joy in gentle crafts. These words would often bring a small smile, a glimmer of understanding that their worth wasn't tied to one thing. She helped the grumpy librarian, Mr. Silas, rediscover his love for old maps when his whisper spoke of a, quote, traveler's heart, though rooted deep. She even shared it with the mayor, who was always stressed, and his whisper about a steady hand that guides with care helped him feel proud of his hard work. Elara never told people what to do or tried to change them. She simply offered the mirror of the star whispers, allowing them to see the wonderful qualities they already possessed. It was a quiet act, but it spread ripples of comfort and confidence throughout the town, helping each person discover a little more about their own special self. Through Elara's gentle sharing, the old 1872 Almanac had woven itself into the fabric of the town. It became a quiet, powerful teacher, showing everyone something truly important, that every single person was unique and mattered. The whispers celebrated differences, rather than making them seem strange. The strong-willed baker, the dreamy artist, the careful planner, the boisterous storyteller, each found their special place honored in the Almanac's poetic lines. No longer did people only notice what others lacked. Instead, they began to look for the loyal heart, or the patient spirit, that the star whispers pointed out. Children learned that being quiet didn't mean you had nothing to say, but perhaps that deep thoughts brew within your mind. Adults remembered their youthful dreams when their whispers spoke of a spirit longing for the open road. The town felt a little warmer, a little kinder. People smiled more easily, and new friendships bloomed from shared understanding. The Almanac, with its ancient wisdom, had taught them that just like every star in the sky shines with its own light, every person on earth holds a unique and important spark. Everyone was a special part of their town's big, beautiful story. The old Almanac, once a forgotten book in an attic, now rested carefully on Elara's bedside table. It was no longer just a curious find. It was a cherished treasure. Elara knew its pages held more than just dates and weather predictions from long ago. They held a special kind of wisdom, a gentle light that helped people feel seen and understood. She often ran her fingers over its worn leather cover, remembering all the smiles and quiet moments of recognition it had brought to her town. She understood that the true magic wasn't in predicting the future or telling people who they were destined to be. Instead, it was in its power to reflect the good that was already inside them, the unique spark that made each person special. The star whispers were like tiny loving reminders that everyone had gifts, and that those gifts made the world a richer, brighter place. Elara knew she would always keep the Almanac safe, not just for herself, but for anyone who might need a reminder that the sky, in its ancient wisdom, truly knows and celebrates who you are. And that, she thought, was the most wonderful secret of all.